Supervisors is Tuesday, May 2nd. Is there any conflict interest on the agenda today, gentlemen?
None.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Charlie, second by Bryce. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Approval of the minutes for April 18th. Any corrections or changes, Mark?
No.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve minutes for the 18th as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Bryce, second by Charlie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Had a chance to look over the claims.
Yep.
I had one question on it, but Brandon answered that for me, so I don't have any issues with it.
Nope.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Charlie, second by Bryce. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Supervisor committee reports.
None.
I got one. You cue the picture, Mark. EMA and Shelby County Pheasants Forever went together and bought this unit to be used for prescribed burns in the county and also any emergencies. Say reg bri comes in, anything like that. EMA had an old one and they traded it in and we paid the difference between the trade and the new price of this one. So,
Conservation. All right. When you say we paid,
Pheasants Forever.
Pheasants Forever. Gotcha.
Pheasants Forever. So we have a new high pressure spray unit coming this week to put in there, 300 foot of hose, and it's going to be stored at conservation to make it kind of central. But yeah, we put it to good use. A lot of prescribed burns this spring, and it's a great unit. So
Okay.
I think it'll be a real benefit for the county.
Okay.
Pretty nice.
Yeah.
You have anything, Charlie?
I have nothing.
I guess really the only thing, I don't have nothing to report on with pipeline lawsuits. Pretty quiet right now. No new information there. I am going to PHMSA is going to be having a nationwide meeting, and it's going to be in Des Moines the 31st and 1st of June. And so I and Tim Whipple, our attorney, are going to that. See what we find out there for all pipelines.
What's the acronym again?
PHMSA,
Okay.
it's the feds on the pipeline safety. There's the regulators of it. And then IT, we haven't filled that position yet. We've been doing some interviewing. Hopefully get somebody filled here this month. We'd like to have somebody on staff by the 1st of June to the 15th of June, so there's some overlap there. So, but like I said, haven't filled that position yet. We're also going to have a plan B if it takes a little longer than we hope it does. So we're all working on that too, Taryn is. Anything else? Okay. Next on the agenda is Recorder's Quarterly Report. Good morning there, Jerry.
Good morning.
Morning.
I gave you all a sheet, and as you can see from this quarter, last year, the same time, we are down about $11,000. A lot of that, as in my last quarter, has to do with the real estate transactions. Deeds, the revenue stamps on sales, mortgages, just because the high interest rates, I'm sure. So that's the major part of where we're falling behind on that.
Well, you're comparing to a high time too.
Right. So, but everything else is still in line of what it was, so we're good. Still doing our normal renewing of the vehicles and selling turkey tags and that sort of thing. I was just going to tell you one project we're working on right now is, I don't know if it happened when like they changed our software from whatever they were using previously to Tyler Eagle, but everything, all the records, all the deeds, all that kind of stuff, our real estate records from 1988 to 2000 are totally messed up. And the legals are not correct, and the stuff is just not in the right orders. And that's something that is not, so we have from 2000 forward on Iowa Land Records. People can search that on Iowa Land Records. We have from 1988 and before is what COT did, but we have that time period from 1988 to 2000 where no one can search that other than us. So we're going through every single record and correcting everything on it. And we're starting in 1999, and then once we get 1999 completed, we will have that go on Iowa Land Records, and that's what we're working on now, is going through each one of those records to try to get those corrected so that it's correct. And the other thing is COT, I did contact them a couple weeks ago because what they showed us they were going to do and how easy it was going to be to search the records is not what we ended up with. And so I contacted them and said, this needs to be fixed because we can't search it, our customers can't search it. And so they are working on that to get it the way we want it. So hopefully in a couple weeks they'll have that finished so that it's what we expected. So that is it. Any questions?
Sound like you got it under control.
Trying.
Throwing curveballs at you.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. You guys have any other questions?
No.
Have a motion to approve the quarterly report.
Second.
Motion by Charlie, second by Bryce. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next on the agenda is a memorandum of understanding, Shelby County and the Office of the Chief Information Office for the Iowa Department of Management. Mark?
Alex was gonna help me out with this. That's more of an IT issue, and Terrence wanted to.
Morning. So this is something, after we had our IT audit, one of the things that got brought up during our audit that we were lacking that we needed to get. What this is basically a program that's installed on every computer that monitors it 24/7 for threats, whether it's virus or whatever it may be. It's already on some PCs, I believe, at the election computers at the auditor's office. And you can now put them on every computer in the county. You just have to sign this MOU to be able to do that. It's a free program through the state.
I see that.
And it is something that the ISAC or the committee that came in and did our audit. ICAP, yeah. They said it would meet what we're lacking. So they're encouraging us to do this.
Sounds to me like we need it.
I was at an auditor's meeting one time in Burlington, and these people called me and they said, something's wrong with your computer. We think it's being hacked. And I said, well, do what you gotta do. And they shut it down remotely, my computer on my desk. And I was in Burlington. And what it was doing a scan for viruses. And somehow it noticed that word popped up, a certain word popped up. The OCIO caught that. They just locked it up.
That's good.
So, yeah, it's just more monitoring, and the ransomware threat is real, and we need to take it seriously.
And then it can go on, my understanding is it can go on every computer and server that we have. So looking through the MOU, it's pretty standard. I didn't see any issues. They said there's no way. The only thing that I saw was that we have a 90-day notice if they, for some reason, decide that they don't want to provide the service anymore, that we would have to find something different if we want to. But I don't think it's something that they're going to be getting rid of with the way that.
How soon would this happen? Do you have any idea?
That I'm not sure. I know Terrence's been working a lot with it. I just was mainly here to explain it. And then along with this, aside from this MOU, we did get, and we were accepted for the grant for the firewall for the state. So that'll be 3 years free firewall services. We're working with them to get that set up, and that can be within the next month or two that we can get that done. Definitely before the contract ends or the thing's based. And then if that's a grant provided through Homeland Security, and again, it's 3 years for free, and then after that, they don't know how it's gonna be. But with the amount of cybersecurity stuff that is being done right now, I don't see it something that they're not gonna continue to fund.
gonna be a standard procedure.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Charlie, second by Bryce. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Next on the agenda, Kyle Lindbergh, Shelby County Jail Department report. Morning, Kyle.
Morning. How are we today?
Good.
How's it going?
It's going. Exciting as jail update can be, right? Well, this quarterly update, I guess, to provide to you guys some information here. I will happy to say that, well, knock on wood, this has jinxed me in the past, but we are fully staffed at this point in time. We hired Julie Armentrout back, who started back in January. And then we've also hired a Jessica McGill, who started in February. So they are both wrapping up their FTO training, and we'll be doing shift bids and stuff here next month. So that's good. Let's hope we good staff right now. So hopefully we can keep it going here. So they are slated to attend their 40-hour certification required by the state. It's actually going to be held in Pot County Jail, so it'll be local, so I don't have to pay hotel cost. And so it's nice to see some things coming back to the western side of the state. Pigback, obviously we had an ICAP audit done here. The law enforcement spectrum, they were focusing on the jails this year. There's a few recommendations coming from ICAP that they had made some recommendations to us on. Overall, we did well. There were a few areas of concerns, obviously, from the ICAP officials, as far as there were some TV cables that were like, coax cables like that, were like 4 foot. It had like an extra 6 inches in it that we needed to shorten up because somebody could use it to hang themselves ultimately, but we took care of that issue. And then not having 2 staff on at all times, placing persons at risks. That's one of the biggest things they're pushing for, is to make sure 2 people are on the floor at all times if something would happen to that person and or with an inmate for liability purposes. This was conducted March 15th. We had 30 days to do a reply to them. With Brian, basically what I advised him is that's just not physically respond. I mean, we can't do that right now, obviously. Maybe down the road eventually something we can look into, but we just don't have the funds to add 2 more full-time positions. And the way we have our scheduling set up is probably the best, because there's only a 5-hour period, nighttime and morning, where there's only 1 person and inmates are in lockdown at that time. So, and they were cool with that at this point in time. So, but that may be something that comes up in the future, just FYI. So. Our new software that we came to you guys over a year ago, signed a contract in February 2022 with Shieldware, is updated and is running fully. We went live on that completely on March 26th. I will hope to say this will hopefully be my last software upgrade in my tenure with the Shelby County Jail, because it has provided a few headaches. It's going well though. A lot of the features and stuff, it makes our job a lot easier. It's, you know, it's newer, it's not antiquated, so they're old, so it's able to make our job a lot easier. As Marcus probably can concur with, we are busy. You know, we did the recent unification with bringing on the Harlan Police Department. They have, well, 4 of the 7 positions have started, and we are proactive, we are busy. We have processed 176 people through jail since January 1. Actually, since we went live on our software the 26th of March, 73 of those have been on our new software. So, interesting little side note, though, about 40% of those are out of county, non-Shelby County residents. It seems like we get a lot of travelers through that come through and get in trouble. And our average length of stay is up, so it's no longer a lot of overnight stays. It's a lot more serious drug violations or serious charges, felony level charges, which require bond and people stay. So we've been full. I mean, this last month and a half we've been at capacity, so it's a little more strain on the staff, but we're handling it. So
Good thing you're full staff.
yes, basically yes. Let's see what else I got here. You know, with the new software, our plan is to go paperless in 2024, which will be a great thing because we can start eliminating inmate files that get thicker and thicker, especially to our repeat offenders. Everything's running well. You know, we had some concerns and budgetary concerns here. I've reached out to a couple of vendors, Shieldware being one of them. They are working with us and allowing me to pay my portion of that after July 1 of next year, so that's going to save me.
Give you cushion there.
Give me cushion, basically, for as long as nothing major medical or anything major happens in the next 60 days, we should be A-okay. So huge relief off my shoulders, which is probably a little bit of relief off the board's and Mark's shoulders as well too. So, last but not least, thank you, Steve, for information on the ISAC opioid settlement conference coming up here in Des Moines, May 24th and 25th. I've actually spoke with Alex, and Alex Londo is going to actually attend with me so we can take two brains.
Awesome.
It's a free conference, so we can basically branch network out. I looked at the attendee list. There's like 185 people already set up, so it's a different variety from EMA, sheriffs, county attorneys, to auditors, to people to be able to learn how to disperse and hopefully get some ideas how to use some of these funds for what we can use them for on this opioid settlement that we've got. So
Yeah, it's fairly narrow what it can be used
correct.
for.
We had that big thing that Mark had sent out, that document, but when you're reading, it's like, no offense, it's like death by PowerPoint. It's like I wrote a branch off and say, hey, we did this, and we can do that.
And the board originally had said the funding would go towards the jail and public
Yep.
safety with sheriff's department. Also, I had public health reach out to me. If the fund, I told them, we're getting a little more funding than we thought, but it's not a huge amount.
Yeah.
But if we get to that point where we're not just covering the areas that you need it for, but there would be some left over, they have some training for opioid they would like to use too.
Okay.
So
Training for their people or training to offer to us?
No.
I'll train for their people.
for their people out in the public.
Yeah. That's the main thing. And one thing I said, because the deputies and stuff, they all have the Narcan and how administer how to use it. It's pretty basic. Obviously, I believe it goes in the nasal cavity, and it's pretty much just a squirt, and that's about it or whatever. But I did tell the jail staff, we have it up there, but it would be nice to have some initial training, signs and symptoms to look for and stuff. I mean, we're not doctors, but obviously it can happen. We
Right.
can have fentanyl, and it can even happen one of our own.
Yeah, they talked about doing some
So-
public opioid overdose training, potentially provide the Narcan to
Yep.
people that identify as living with someone at risk.
Correct.
So they just want to stay in the loop if you do have any additional, or you set up a funding
You would be
what do I wanna say,
surprised
template.
the people that come in with opioid addictions.
That's what they said.
And it's staggering numbers. I mean, people are looking on the next drug, and I was like, we do the best that we can, but within a reason, within law too, but our hands are kind of tied on a lot of that because it's an ever so changing world. There's new drugs coming out there all the time. You try and stay on top of it and try to keep your staff informed. Take your proper, personal protection equipment, always wear gloves anytime and all this other stuff, but there's always something that seems like they're trying to
That brings me to the next question. Marcus, is there a timeline? Once you receive the money, you have to spend it, Or
I don't recall there being a timeline. I think you just have to account for your spending.
Right.
correct.
And so I would assume that at some point, if you haven't spent it on opioid remediation, that
What are some
they'll
of the
say
things
something.
you've spent it on already?
We as far as that would just be with the EMA, they purchased CPR AED dummies and stuff within that. We get medication reimbursement back to the
Yep.
region, so I have not submitted any of that medication costs because
They're gonna
that's a
continue to
program.
do that.
Yeah, they extended that out through June 30th this year. So we've recouped most of the costs back on that. Basically, what I'm looking for is for training and obviously to provide, because Narcan some places provide it for free, but also we have to purchase some things as well too. So
If you want mine, after your training session, get with Neil and see what you guys in the next year, say from July 1, for the next fiscal year, gonna need, and see if there's any left over where, we can maybe supply whatever that is for public health.
There's
to
just
do
short of
some things.
$50,000 in it right now.
Okay. And then when,
So is it so much? Is it a percentage so much per year for a length of years? Why does the number 17 stick out to me? Is that
yeah, that's what we started with. That's what we
Okay.
told we were gonna
Well,
get.
there's several different settlements.
okay?
There you
so
go.
okay,
And the
so
board
different.
came on afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's just the sheriff. I mean, we kind of touched base on it back in February, but obviously he's been a pretty busy man over the last
Yeah.
60 days. So, but it is something that's why I'm glad you sent that to me because I just told him I would just go and
But if, I'd
take
say,
information and come up with a plan.
you're gonna have that
100%.
meeting, say like July, say like August maybe bring some recommendations back to us and see what kind of budget we have.
Correct.
And then we could talk with public health, and if they can, but at least we let them know.
No, by all
Because they would like
means.
to do some public awareness out
Yeah,
there.
and it would be a very good thing, which ultimately would
Yeah.
put into us, 'cause
Okay.
I'm trying to present some ideas, maybe like into a jail diversion type thing, you know, a little more, that to help these people that are coming in with consistence, you know, other options. and
Yeah, because
stuff
whatever
like
we
that.
do on the public's gonna help you too.
Bingo, that's exactly what I say. So, and then last but not least, we are slated for our state jail inspection coming up on May 22nd with Delbert Long, our chief jail inspector. So, no concerns
Good luck.
there. We're pretty fortunate for what we got and what we're able to do. So,
Okay.
that's it.
Thank you.
Yep, have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Two. Okay. Secondary roads report, Brandon?
Good morning.
Morning.
Update today, a couple excavator crews. I know it doesn't feel like summer out, but starting to get some stuff done, so that feels good. One crew's down on Ironwood, south of 58. There's a culvert that's about ready to fall in, so getting that done. And then the other's heading to 780th. There's a pond out outside the right of way, and it kind of is an attractive nuisance for beavers, so we're gonna go clean that up and get terrible willow trees and stuff out. Beavers like to plug the tube, and it's kind of a mess.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we'll get that taken care of and remediate it for a couple years at least, so.
Geez, where would we be if we didn't have the beaver mound? I mean, they just still keep multiplying.
Oh, yeah. Bridge crew starting today on the Prairie Rose Spillway Bridge, so it's on the west side of Prairie Rose, Redwood Road, north of 58. They were gonna get going, but they were waiting on utilities to relocate, so I think that's all done and get started there. One train load of rock has been in Denison. We've got to hold out, ready for our next one, so we've let them know, keep us coming. So glad that's finally started up. We've got a couple of different crews working on pulling in roads. One's on M36 north of F24. The other's been out on 1100th on a dirt road in between Hazel and M16. And then those guys are moving to Juniper from F66 north to 400th Street. It'd be a mile west of 59, parallel to 59 to the north. In the office, working on pavement marking, slurry leveling plans for next year's development, and then the most we've been told, still late summer for F24 project. So hit that as it comes, but that's what we're hearing on that. Bryce, you'll be glad to hear the chipper is finally here.
Wow.
Showed up yesterday. The salesman called yesterday morning and said, hey, it's at our shop, I'll bring it. So it's here. He came and got the trade-in, so they're gone, and it should be a nice machine if you stop down and just sitting
It's been
out
2
front.
years, over 2 years.
I looked back just to
Really?
make sure. Your first quote was from March of 2021,
Really?
and you secured the grant in August of 21. So, wow, we're, over 2 years in.
Vermeer?
Yep. And then I've been approached by Phil Wagner. I know he might have talked to you too, Steve, about that road that goes out of Panama to past the church cemetery and then to the township cemetery. He's been kind of asking me to come up with an estimate of what I would think it would cost to pave that and kind of what the county would be willing to provide. So I came up with an estimate. As of right now, it's about $400,000 for just the pavement and about $150,000 to $200,000 for the base work. So just kind of food for thought, not saying we should provide and not giving any recommendation, I guess, of what the county will or won't provide on that. I know we've kind of done some agreements in the past, but that's, up to a county standard. We would help out a little bit, but just kind of, if he approaches any of you, I've got the estimate, and I think he wants to come to a board meeting at some point in time.
It's cement or asphalt?
Asphalt is what it's 0.7 of a mile, and it's,
As a township, can the township contribute? Tax themselves?
I would think so.
Potentially,
But I know they're limited too, their township
right.
levies are not very large.
Would it be a cemetery levy if it goes out by the cemetery?
I'm not sure what that covers,
Yeah.
what they can and can't tax for, I'm not sure, so.
I would just, the most we could do is what we did in the past, where we figured out what it cost us to maintain the road and rock for a year, and if they did a 3-year projection, whatever that is. I mean, we did that in the past. But
Right. And asphalt's about 20 years.
it's
is
not
what
gonna contribute a
like.
lot to it.
Right, no, it's, this is a considerable expense and our input would be considerably less than that, but I do have the numbers for him, and when he comes in, I'll share that and say I touched on it with you guys, and
Okay.
if he's willing to take on that kind of financial contribution, then we can continue forward on it, so.
Okay.
That's all I have for today.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Is there any other department head reports?
Just what I have.
Okay.
That's all I've been notified of.
Okay. Do you want to wait with that as we go down?
Oh, I'm ready unless,
Okay, go ahead.
yeah, the empty room at the annex, school wants to use it and just to store things temporarily
During their construction
during
project.
the, yeah.
Till like
There's some
September.
things that need to be climate controlled. Can't be
Right.
too hot, can't be too cold, then they'll get hung back up
Right.
and draw up a lease, and the dollar amount needs to be set by you guys if you have one.
This is just me, but up in the school for a short period of time, we're not using it. Be different if we had somebody interested in renting it. I don't see to charge them anything, $1 or something like that,
Okay.
for that time.
And
To
I'll-
work with our other government entities.
I'll approach them with that before the next meeting,
Okay.
and we'll get that all set up.
Okay. Then also, the city of Harlan has reached out to me as far as wanting to store a bicycle of some three-wheeler or whatever in there. They'd be allowed to do that as long as, you can fit in there. I guess the school's only gonna take about half the room. But if we'd ever rent it out or something, then those things would change, but just as long as we don't have to change anything, to get the bike in there. So,
You need to change it, then they have to fix it.
yeah, I mean, that'd be up to them if they want to do that.
And they said they'd have to tear the panic bar and the closure off to get the bicycle in there. I guess they'd have to be responsible for the door.
Okay. That's something you'll have to look at then, Gene. So, okay. And then next you have Building and Grounds, disposing of county-owned lot in Erling.
Yeah, I've got a about 2 blocks south of the cemetery. I don't know how well this is gonna show up, we'll try it, but hey, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The cemetery in Erling would be right up here. There's a doctor's office and the lot. It's hard not looking at it. Right there in black is county-owned property. And I'll put the ball in your court. It's 0.7 acres. I've got a parcel number and everything, if anybody would ever need a parcel number to look at the size of the lot, to go look at it themselves. I have nothing else.
Yeah, the county used to have, geez, when I was a kid, they had a road go up catty corner through that block. That the county owned, and then there's a little triangle there that we used to store a little rock. We had a little storage shed there, gas barrel, fuel barrel.
I believe the maintainer part
Yeah,
there.
plugged in the maintainer there.
Okay. And we haven't used it for,
I've been around since 2013 and we've never done anything there since then.
so it's just been sitting there.
Just mowing it and spraying it, we're losing money on it, so.
Okay.
And I did talk to the assessor, he was thinking about $9,000 is what he'd value it at. And you can double check with him. I don't think any action will be taken today. We do have room to take action if you want me to continue and get an
Tony.
advertised price so we can set. Tony is here. I didn't think you were here today.
So if I read this right, Tony, the information that was sent out, there originally was like a little storage shed on there, and that's not there anymore. So.
Yeah, we didn't have a value on it until I knew that we were interested in moving it, so I priced it with the methodology they used for all the other commercial property this year. And in the aerial, it was a little 10 by 10 shed, which was there a year ago, but apparently not there. So if you got the beacon page yesterday, would have had it on there. If I remember right, and I wasn't planning to talk here, it was like 8,300 maybe for the whole?
8,700.
8,700?
And then 630 for the building.
Okay.
So,
So that'd be an estimate.
yeah.
Thank you, Tony.
Yep. I'll throw this out there and just stay there. In the past, because we had got rid of some county ground, which is the old dump ground, a few years back. And what we did is we put the assessed value as a starting point. So this would be 8,700. And we ain't gonna sell it for less than assessed value. And have people submit bids by a certain time to Marcus. And we'll open bids here at a certain time if that's something you want to do. I see we just need to get rid of it. This serves no purpose to the county but an expense. You don't see any need to keep it, do you?
No,
Brandon?
not at all.
Okay. And I've also asked Taryn, not today, not tomorrow, but here, say within this next year, we need to look at, we have other small parcels of property the county has and making sure we're using them, and if we're not, I think we need to get some more of these back on the tax roll.
I know one of the challenges, including this one, is coming up with a land legal description that defines it. Like, it's still a question whether it's actually still officially right-of-way or if it's been abandoned at some point or so on. And that all has to be determined in order to move to the next step. And a lot of the properties out there are similar. There's just not a lot of records that indicate how they became what they are now.
Right.
That has to be identified to move to the next step.
I would say by, say, the first of the year or something, if you could bring us some, but I'd say once you get that list, chances are, you know, secondary roads, conservation, there's gonna be probably 2-3 departments that are probably gonna be the ones that either use it or know why it's there.
It's pretty
and then
easy
bring
to
something
identify
us.
the properties that are county or conservation, one of those. Identifying the legal description of the properties that can be sold is the challenge.
Okay. Okay, we'll see what we can do there.
Yeah, and they're all over, places you wouldn't even think of.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's a few more like this out there.
No, definitely.
What are you guys' thoughts on moving ahead with this and, you know,
Yeah, I think we should.
putting a base on it, has to be above 8,700 and
Yeah.
submit sealed bids to Marcus. You have a problem with that?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Maybe you could put something together.
We need a motion on this.
Yeah, what would you think is a time frame date for you?
Well, I mean, there's a process that you have to go through to sell land, so you have to, first
Publication.
of all, have a set a formal hearing to sell.
With a legal description
With a
identified.
legal description, right. And then you have to publish, you have to publish notice, you have to set the date for sealed bids, the date for opening the sealed bids. And
We
then-
set that
What-
next,
Yeah,
as soon as we
why don't
can.
you and Mark work out a schedule for that,
Yeah,
you know,
well,
and then bring it back to the board for
as
us.
soon as Tony gets us a legal description.
Yeah, that'll be Taryn. That'll be my
Taryn.
office.
Would it be appropriate to include the, like the assessor Jeep in the same bid day or something like that?
The what?
The assessor vehicle, it's been decided to put that up for auction as well, the Jeep. Would it be appropriate to do the same time frame, the same day, all of that?
I don't know about
I
that.
don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I
Think
Yeah.
that'd be separate.
I think in the past, we basically had like a county sale of like vehicles and extra ridge plank and all that type of stuff.
Those
I
are
would think that would,
Sold
We don't do
online
that
now?
anymore.
you don't do that anymore?
They're sold online, right? Or not?
Or they go up to Dennis.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay.
we do wherever we think we're gonna get the most money. for it.
Gotcha.
Tony, have you reached out first, what we did with vehicles in the past? Any departments interested?
I have not. I could ask.
I would start there and know what it's worth, because that's gonna be the next thing asked. And then, if it isn't, then we could advertise it, like in the paper, or
Yeah,
internet.
because it's,
With value.
it's not real property, you don't have to go through the same processes
Okay.
as you
Yeah.
do with real
We
property.
just want to
Make
make
it as
it a
easy
good
as possible.
Yeah,
fiduciary, process.
right?
You know what their, how many miles like are on it.
It's not got a lot of miles, but it's got a lot of engine hours. It's
Yeah.
like idling in front of houses from street to street,
Okay,
door to door. It's a 98, I think, so it's a little bit older.
okay.
And he is Jeep.
If you want to write it down, I'll find out for sure, but it is a Jeep Grand
Yeah, I
Cherokee.
mean, I would send her out to all departments first,
Okay.
and then if you don't get any interest.
And it's kind of an as-is situation.
Yep, yep, and have a price on it for them. Okay. Then, Mark, you can bring something at the next meeting or whatever works
Yeah.
for you guys.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fine with you guys too?
Yeah.
And then, third thing, Mark, building and grounds rent for the juvenile services at the annex building.
Yeah, the original lease, or the latest lease, or, yeah, the original lease for this amount was in January of 2014, and it was $1,350, and it's still that amount. And I had 2 of the 3 auditors, Harrison and Audubon, said they'd be okay if we had to raise the rent.
Within reason?
Cass has not gotten back to us.
Okay,
I was worried about their budgets.
yeah.
You set your budgets, and if it's a tight department, you don't spend a lot of money in that budget, you,
Well, we couldn't do it for this upcoming year anyway, because people already got their budgets done.
okay. Yep.
I mean, just to be fair, we wouldn't like
But I
that
asked
either.
them if we increased it for next year's budget, and they, 2 of the 3 auditors said that'd be fine.
Okay,
So that kind of opened the door a little bit for
Okay.
us.
well, if Cass is okay with it, we could do marginally, but we need to get our expenses covered since that time.
Yes.
So you can bring that back to us, or what was you thinking?
You can set a rate, and then I'll make sure Cass is okay with
So
it.
what would the rate be if we to cover our additional expenses?
The going rate and what we did for the other people that are renting down there was, I believe it was $10 a square foot. And it is
Yeah, that's
2,300 square feet, and that'd be a huge increase.
huge increase.
Am I right with that $10? We're about in the ballpark
Yeah.
for rental space? I was hoping you'd know.
Yeah, it's difficult, not only in Harlan, but in Shelby County, because there is, you wouldn't believe the range.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
of
And the
what
services
people
we're
are asking.
providing here, I'd hate to lose that service here in town because,
Right, right.
so I think we gotta work with our entities there.
Well, you said you were at 1350 now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you go 13 to 23, raise it 500 a month. Divided by 4 counties, that'd be $125 a month for all 4 counties.
That would
If
cover
if it
our,
was proportional, yes.
that would cover all our expenses. We really need to, as we move forward, instead of waiting 15 years or so to adjust it, we should really have a cost of living in there, 2 or 3%, so it's a little bit all the time.
Yeah, the contract is renewed every 3 years,
Okay,
and so this is the 3rd year.
okay. Okay,
17.
so what do you guys think on, what if we implemented half that for this year, and then it's gonna be the full rate? Half of that increase
I think
for
that's
this,
fair.
for this upcoming year. Since people got their budgets done, with a notification, they're gonna be at a full rate starting next year.
So what I will do, if you guys give me the order, and I'll rewrite this contract and submit it to their supervisors for
Okay,
okay with that situation. And I'll run it by Marcus, because I gotta modify it, because it's gonna be a different
You guys
amount
okay with
next
that?
year
Yes.
we'll do half of it,
than this year.
half of the increase for 23, 24.
Yeah, so 500 this year and 5.
I'll make a motion for that.
Second.
Okay, motion by Bryce, second by Charlie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, then cost advisory service renew contract.
Yeah, Cost Advisory Services does all of our DHS administration, administration costs every year. They figure those up for us. When I first started, I talked to other auditors, and yes, you can do it yourself, but they said the first time you do it, it'll take a solid 3 weeks to do it. And every year it takes a little less after you get the spreadsheets developed. So Shelby County for years and years have been hiring this company for an amount of about $4,000, a little over $4,000, and it gets us about 16 back every year. This year, when they did it, they're estimating we'll get $24,000 back. Their costs are increasing, and they're asking for, was it 4,400
Right.
this year?
Almost all the counties in the state use this.
Yes, yes.
You had to know for that. I remember you talking about that at budget time, so.
Right, and we, yeah, and the amount we're getting back
Yeah,
with
it's,
a huge, I mean, 20%, I mean, it's amazing. So, of course, administrative costs have went up also.
And how long a contract is that, Mark?
3 years.
Okay. Do I have a motion to move forward with cost advisory service again, your new contract for 3 years?
make the motion.
Second.
Motion by
I
Charlie,
will sign that.
second by Bryce, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Okay, next on the agenda is sheriff deputy appointments.
Yeah, just need you to approve Brandon Gosh, Rick Patton, Casey Fromsley, and Ray Oll are the new deputies. And
They're all qualified.
yes,
Must be moving right along with getting, I think he needed 6
yeah,
total, and he's got 4
Are
already.
those all Harlan officers?
no, no.
Actually, update on that, yeah, there's 7 that they're filling, 6 are filled.
6 are filled?
Correct, yeah, they offered a job from a gentleman from Phoenix, Arizona, that's gonna be relocated back to the area.
Okay.
And then another gentleman just accepted here yesterday, so.
Okay, so you'll have full staff
So
here.
the 7th person that'll replace the deputy that had left prior to bringing on the 6th for
Oh,
the unification, so.
Okay.
Yep, and I think they're interviewing or doing a couple offers here today,
So
or
you
tomorrow.
He must have had, quite a few applicants.
Overall applications, we had 33.
Wow.
33,
Great.
16 were certified and the remaining were not. So, yeah, it was between physical applications, online applications, and coming through, it was a good thing.
Awesome.
So all 6 are certified already?
Correct. I'll say, yep, the 4 that had come over from the police department. And then the gentleman from Phoenix is a graduate of Logan Magnolia. Went in the Air Force, relocated out to the Arizona area, been in Phoenix Police Department for 2 years, but wants to come back to the area.
Back
So
home.
he flew out here for the interview, accepted the job, and he's gonna be moving to Harlan. So, yep.
Excellent.
So you'll probably see a few more names
Okay.
coming up here.
Thanks, Kyle.
You bet. Take care.
So that motion to approve the 4 sheriff's deputies appointments?
Second.
Motion by Bryce, second by Charlie. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Okay, we're gonna recess and we're going to have a Zoom meeting, the Shelby County Chamber with Ryan Pike here in just a few minutes. So you're welcome to stay and you're welcome to leave. Okay? About how long will this be? No, I'm just for people, if they want to decide whether they want to stay or not. 15, 20 minutes. Okay.
Oh, yeah, phone call.
Yeah, so that.
Thanks, everybody who is leaving.